I just want to give a round of applause, or ask everyone for a round of applause, rather, for Amazon Web Services, who's hosting the panel talk today on cloud and the business value.
Good evening. It's good to be back in Ohio. I'm from here. I lived here from 75 until 98. I worked at Ashland, at American Electric Power, at Nationwide Insurance, and it's good to be back with some friends of mine and several other people too. I don't know how many of you know this or not, but who here has purchased something from Amazon.com? Just if you bought something from Amazon.com, raise your hand. Okay. Did you know we also invented cloud computing? All right. Yeah. Okay. One person does. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So yeah, the bookstore does cloud. A lot of people don't understand that. And let me just begin by dispelling a bit of a myth. People think that Amazon Web Services is excess capacity on Amazon.com. That's not what it is. We took about 10 years of learning how to run 100% available services and figured we could make a business out of this by selling you CPU hours at 12 cents an hour. And it's actually turned out to be very profitable. And not only that, but really compelling for a lot of businesses who just don't want to invest in internal IT anymore. So I'm going to start out. And I'm kind of curious, guys, what is it that interested you in cloud computing in the first place? Tell me a little bit about why this was appealing to you.
For me, necessity is the mother of cloud computing. The reality is our internal IT infrastructure was glacial in its speed. And, you know, I'm not a salesman.
Remember, glaciers move an inch a decade.
I'm not a salesman, I'm a developer. So as a developer, I was gasping for breath trying to have infrastructure assigned to the projects I was working on, and recognizing that I could spin up my own virtual machine in a matter of seconds. I could create Amazon machine images that had the stack of software installed on it, save that, and spin up new versions of that at a moment's notice was an incredibly compelling vision for us.
I'm with PaceJet. PaceJet's a software company. So we started out making web-based software for shipping and logistics, and although it was web-based, it was multi-tenant, it was for multiple sites, you put it on premise and it integrates with other business systems. And what we recognized was that the cloud computing is an opportunity to get rid of a lot of the maintenance or headache that our customers were experiencing. So for us, the idea was, hey, cloud computing is a great way to go and take that problem, put it in the cloud, and tell customers, look, you can just provision a site, we'll connect to your ERP, whether it's on-site or in the cloud. You forget all that stuff. You just want to process a shipment, you connect through PaceJet, we'll handle interacting with the carriers and getting you your labels and getting you your rates and all that sort of stuff. So it took away a lot of pain for our customers, and also, frankly, dropped the price point of our solution from having to buy software and maintenance and hardware to just paying a monthly fee.
John, tell us a little bit more about the kinds of things that you're doing in the AWS cloud.
Sure. Well, the current project I'm working on is called the Digital Resource Commons. And I work for an organization called OhioLink, the Ohio Library and Information Network. If any of you have a degree from any institution of higher education here in Ohio, Steve does, right? Then you've probably used OhioLink, whether you know it or not. We are the people who provide access to electronic research journals. If you need textbooks from a different organization or a different institution in the state, we're the people who get them to you. The project I'm working on right now is a statewide federated digital repository. Trying to put that into English, I like to say to the institutions of higher learning, these are your important files. We're going to store them on our server, and we're going to make the sites look like every other web property you have. Well, the reality is that game's changed for us. It's no longer the servers that we're running centrally. It's the servers that we're managing centrally on Amazon's cloud environment.
When you first started looking at cloud computing, Ron, did it seem like an immediate no-brainer, or were there some barriers, maybe technical and political, that you had to overcome before you could start to implement this?
Well, the concept's pretty compelling, so it seems like a no-brainer you want to do it. We had some very specific challenges with our kind of application, because we're a hardcore business application. It needs to be up, it needs to run, constantly, it can't be down. People rely on it, especially in the afternoon when you're ready to ship product. If you don't ship it, you can't revenue it. So that was important, the availability and those sorts of challenges. But more than that, integration was critical to us. So I would say we're sort of in this camp that PageJet's kind of a new breed of cloud applications where it's not just a website you go to and access. It has to integrate with an ERP system, and it has to integrate with supply chain entities, and it has to do it in real time.
Part of what I have to do in my job is understand what's hard, is talk to customers about what are the barriers, what can we do to get better. So I'm actually going to ask my friends on stage here to tell me, what are we not doing good enough for you? What can we do that would make it even better and easier to use cloud computing in general or AWS specifically?
When we first looked at Amazon, it was kind of daunting because of the terminology. You know, you go out there and you look at the site and you start looking, and there's this thing called instances, and then there's reserved instances, and there's an EBS drive, and there's S3, and you're looking at the pricing matrix, and you're thinking, I don't understand all this. So approachability was probably the hard part. But once you get it, it made a whole heck of a lot more sense to us. So maybe one thing would be, part of what you're doing now is help people understand that, you know, you can start an instance on demand and fire it up in 15 minutes. You know, you've got this concept of availability zones and regions where you can spread your capacity out, and if one fails, you can go to the other spot, and, you know, some of the basics of how do you get started. There were some technical limitations I think are still there. In the environment. For example, in our situation, we needed load balancing with sticky sessions through SSL to get real hardcore on you for a minute. And that's not there today except through some...
It's coming.
It's coming.
Yep.
And there's some additional solutions, but there's a load balancing solution that doesn't need SSL.
I think in some sense I have to agree with Ron. The idea that if you can lower the barrier to the initial introduction to AWS services, they're going to sell themselves. So I know we all had our hands up when we said that we'd purchase items from Amazon's website. Maybe just a big red button that said click. You click it, and then congratulations, you've just started your
one-click instance? You want a one-click instance?
One-click instance, like a one-click purchase, sure.
How has it helped you? Has it helped you make more money? Has it decreased your time to market? Have you noticed that you've been able to increase revenue? I mean, give me a few seconds of business value that moving to AWS has presented for you.
It's one at the outset from a vendor's perspective is credibility, right? You know, if we went with a regional data center and someone says, hey, what do you run your stuff on? Well, we say this data center, and they say, well, I don't know what that is. When we say Amazon, it's like makes the question of availability and scalability and reliability goes away. You know, because they know, hey, you can run, if you wanted to branch into Europe, you can run instances in Europe. If you wanted to branch into Asia, you can do it in Asia. The other benefit for us is that, you know, our business is creating shipping and logistics software that delivers value by streamlining those processes. So the value someone gets out of PageJet is that we do that work. So to the extent that I do a better job at export management or freight rating or packing and labeling and paperwork, those are the kinds of things that people buy PageJet for. They're not really buying from me server hosting and backups and all that sort of stuff. That's an infrastructure cost. So for us, it lowered the cost of managing that, kind of took that problem off our back.
For me, the value is being able to deliver on the educational promise that, that all of the institutions of higher education have. And so I'm not going to talk about dollars and cents, but I am going to talk about value in one thing that is really important to me as a customer and also as somebody who's trying to do good works for people out in the field. And that is the transparency of what we have in using Amazon Web Services.
And with that, I'd like to thank John and Ron very much for giving their time and helping you understand how they're deriving value from what we're doing, and hope that maybe you can do the same. So thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it.